Hey, Wayne Williams again. Speaking of horses, we're here at the Equus Film Festival in beautiful Manhattan for 2016. Now, also as a part of the film festival, there is a literary section. There are a lot of authors here. And with me right now is the author of this book, which is called In the Reins. And Carly Cade is the author, and Carly joins me now. So, Carly, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Wayne. I'm so glad to be here today.
Well, we're glad to be talking with you, and you are one of the select publications in the literary section, and we are in the kind of the vendor or trade hall where the panels are also going on from filmmakers. But tell us a bit about your book.
So my book, In the Reins, is a fiction, and it's a love story. It's a love story about a woman who rediscovers her roots with horses, and along the way she moves back from a city like Manhattan to the country, and she picks up a young horse, and she realizes, even though she has horses in her background, she doesn't know as much as she once did. So it's a love story about falling in love and the special bond that a woman has with her horse. And along the way, she meets a cowboy who steps in, and there's a second love story. A mysterious cowboy helps her with her new horse.
Okay, so what was your inspiration for this? There's got to be an inspiration point, right?
It's interesting. I have always loved creative writing. It's been something that's been in my life all the time, and I always have a journal with me. And one day, and horses have always been in my background too, right? So I've ridden horses since I was 7 years old. And one day, McKinnon Kelly, the lead cowboy in the story, showed up in the form of a poem. I always thought myself more of a poet than a author of books, and this story would not leave me alone. It begged to be told. It just kept showing up. And I actually, the next day, I sat down, and for 3 hours straight, I wrote the ending to the book. And then more parts of the book kept showing up. So I filled in the beginning, which was the opening lead poem with McKinnon Kelly, and the end, and I filled in the book as I went along. And it just kept coming. When I'm writing, I'm not even there. It's like magical. It's really wonderful.
You transform to somewhere else. The story is coming from you, and parts of it, it just comes from your psyche. You don't even know it, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
See, and I'm not a writer. I mean, I've just watched enough documentaries that I kind of figure this out. But no, it's quite a read. It's In the Reins. Now, is this dedicated to anybody?
It is. It's dedicated to my mother, who actually always insisted that I follow my dreams and listen to them. And this is one of those dreams, is bringing this story to the world. And I'm most happy because readers are saying it's touching their inner cowgirl. They're leaving me fabulous reviews on Amazon. Women are finishing this book in a day, and even the men that are reading it are loving it. They can't put it down. I'm trying to do for the cowboy what Twilight did for the vampire, right? Bring you a really great story where horses are as much the lead character as the leading man and woman, and it has a really great message too, and that message of following your dreams and letting fate bring you forward is really threaded throughout the book. So it's a journey of self-discovery as well.
And you know, as much as vampires are on TV now, this could be a whole new segment.
I'm hoping.
It's called Vampires the Cowboy. I can just see it now.
Yeah, my cowboy isn't a vampire, but yes, wouldn't it be great to get that kind of exposure for horses and cowboys?
I know.
Sort of lifestyle?
In my whole life, I never thought I would have seen, a Walking Dead Christmas or something like that. However,
right.
Question. This wouldn't be an autobiography, would it?
No, it wouldn't. So it's loosely based on events of my life, right? Because where would you write from? So I'm a very experienced horsewoman. I grew up showing horses. I've had experience with horse training and horse trainers. So that is thread through. And I've had experiences in big cities and in small towns. So I wrote from what I know. And I wrote the book that I wanted to read. I was looking for a story, like a love story that was in my genre, which is I show Western horses. I show paint horses. So there's a lot of jumping. There's a lot of dressage books. There's a lot of Olympic books. This is a horse story for everyone, but it is based and rooted in my discipline.
Great. Now, how do people get a hold of this?
So it's available on Amazon.com. It's been an Amazon bestseller for more than 10 weeks. It's available on Barnes & Noble for Nook, and it's on another ebook site called Kobo, and it's available on Apple's iBooks. You can also get an autographed copy from my website if you're interested. It's www.carlycadecreative.com.
That's Cade with a K, K-A-D-E. Now let me show this again, right here. And the book is called In the Reins. Carly, how do you like the film festival?
I'm so enjoying it. I'm meeting wonderful people and seeing amazing films and talking to other equestrian authors and spending time with people that love horses. There's nothing better than that.
It is. Carly, the book is In the Reins. Carly Kate, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your time. I so enjoyed being here.
All right, you stay with us. We got a lot more coming right here on Speaking of Horses.
Rural American lifestyle. It's how we work, and it's how we play. It's how we learn and how we enjoy the finer things in life. How we take care of our animals and tend to the land. It's a way of life. Has been for hundreds of years. Now there's a whole new way for rural America.
Hey, Wayne Williams again, speaking of horses, Equus Film Festival in beautiful New York City, Lower East Side of Manhattan. From the New York State Horse Council, Allison Clark joins us. Now, we've talked to Allison a couple, 3 years ago here. How are you enjoying the Equus Film Festival this year?
We're enjoying it very much, thank you, Wayne. It's absolutely delightful. There are so many different horse people from all around the world and all across the country here. And we're enjoying seeing the art, meeting the authors, and seeing the movies. New York State Horse Council promotes horses across New York State with the umbrella organisation and a 501c3. And our membership consists of associations and all different types of equestrians. And we want to bring more awareness about horses to the general public.
Well, the horse councils, the state horse councils, do fantastic work because there's so many different breeds, there's so many different horse farms, there's so many different disciplines and things going on. There needs to be a unifying voice of the horse industry. Otherwise, it's sort of like a shotgun blast out there.
Exactly, and that's why the Horse Council is such a good fit with the Equus Film Festival. And also being a volunteer organisation, we've invited people to come to the festival and to help and to put the word out. The Horse Council itself has a good website. It's www.nyshc.org. We have a Facebook page, and on those pages we promote events for our youth, the veterans riders, and all different horse pursuits there.
Well, you promote a lot of things. You also look into the legal issues that surround horses, possible legal actions that might be a downside to horses.
Exactly.
So you have a lot of other duties, right?
We do indeed. One of the things that we're trying to promote at the moment is equine inherent risk legislation for New York State. It is one of the 4 states in the country that does not have it. And we're finding that it impacts business owners who sometimes get affected by spurious lawsuits. And it would be so nice to have better regulation for them.
Well, and most states do have that. They have certain limitations on the amount of exposure a horse owner would have because horses are inherently animals that can do things unpredicted, and it's not really the fault of the owner.
Exactly. And we want everyone to be protected, whether it be the owner, the injured party, and certainly it's not always the horse's fault.
That's right. What we need today are a lot of humans that are going to stand up and say, I made a mistake. When's the last time somebody stood up and said, it's my fault?
Not too often.
Not too often, right. So what's new on the horizon for the Horse Council? Any new projects coming?
Let me think.
Stumped you, right?
No, not really, because we've got a lot going on. We're trying to involve more youth in our organisation. We have a $1,000 scholarship, which we give every year. We have a ride and drive programme. We're up at Saratoga and all over the place. We want to get more involved in horse racing.
Just anything and everything to do with horses. Doesn't matter the breed or the discipline. If you're a horse lover, people like the New York State Horse Council are right here to help you.
Exactly. And so do feel free to check us out. Our membership is very important because having equine professionals join and also youngsters and a good widespread span of ages, then we can make horses work for all of us and our views heard.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to join us. It's always a pleasure.
Lovely to see you, Wayne. Thank you very much.
And we're with the New York State Horse Council, a big part of the Equus Film Festival right here in Manhattan. Stay with us on Speaking of Horses.
We are a family, and we only want the best for them. No standing water means clean, good tasting, algae-free, mosquito-free, and virus-free water. No risk of electric shock, no risk of fire from faulty wiring. Cool water in the summer, warm water in the winter. Water delivered fresh from the water supply at 50 degrees year-round. Drinking post water.
Hey, speaking of horses, we are right here in beautiful Manhattan, Equus Film Festival. But there's also the authors section here with a lot of great books that they aren't movies, but they're great reads.
Absolutely.
And, of course, they're all surrounding the equine, or they wouldn't be here. And this one that I had not heard of until showing up here, Smoke the Donkey. So, Kate, first of all, welcome, and tell us a little bit about this. I'm going to hold this down closely. It's Smoke the Donkey. Tell us about Smoke.
Smoke, this is a nonfiction account of a donkey who wandered around Iraq during the Iraq War, and he roamed on to Camp Al-Taqaddum, which was being operated by the Marines in 2008. My husband is retired now, but he was Colonel John Folsom, and he was commandant of this Marine Corps camp at that point. And as commandant, he's responsible for all the infrastructure needs: roads, electricity, water supply. He worked with the private local contractors and the overseas contractors who handled meals and so forth. So the donkey wandered onto the base, and John and his Marines took him in, fed him, sheltered him, just took care of him. When they left in early 2009, the Marine Corps unit that replaced his took over the care of Smoke, the donkey. But later on, they ended up turning him over to a sheikh when they were preparing to leave the country. John found out about it about a year and a half later when he retired in 2010, and he determined that Smoke would not stay in Iraq. He was concerned about whether he would get proper care, and so he decided Smoke was coming to America. And once he made the resolve, it was going to happen. It took 9 months, nearly $35,000, donated by the American people for the most part and other donors, and they had to get through, I cannot tell you, untold numbers of bureaucratic red tape tangles. But he made it to America in May 2011, and then he got a job in Omaha, Nebraska, where we live, with Take Flight Farms, which is an equine therapy program. And I'll tell you what, Smoke gave back everything that was given to him. He helped veterans recover as they were recovering from PTSD and traumatic brain injury and other assimilation problems as they were getting back. He helped children, he helped behavioral teens, and he was just a wonderful donkey.
Well, it looks like a great read. You were on a panel the other day, and I heard you talking about this, and I thought, I've got to learn about Smoke a little more.
Smoke was a celebrity donkey when he was back going through all this. He was famous in Iraq. Everybody up and down the command chain knew about Smoke the donkey, even though you weren't supposed to have mascots. But they had one of the surgeons wrote a position paper on how he was a therapeutic animal. And then when he was trying to get back to the United States, there were television stories, newspaper accounts. We found stories about him translated into 12 languages. So his story went around the world.
You know, it's funny because there are those stories about you're not supposed to have the animals or do this. I was just watching an old movie the other night about a B-17 after the bombing of Pearl Harbor that was hopping around the islands trying to survive. They came into Pearl when the attack was going on, had no place to go. All right. They picked up a dog on Wake Island. The Marines wanted to get rid of this little dog to save his life. Yeah. And so he's flying on this B-17 island to island. They named the dog Tripoli. And the whole, the story was about other things, but all the time they were also trying to make sure that dog got, they're not supposed to be in the bombers or anything like that, but the little dog named Tripoli was getting a lift till he found a good home. And I think Smoke is a story of that on that same order.
Absolutely. Just in doing the research for this story, I talked to so many people, including a general who served in the Vietnam War. He wasn't a general then, but he's a general now. And he told me this touching story about a dog that his unit adopted in Vietnam. And they hid that donkey from their superiors for months because they weren't supposed to have him, but they loved it. So I just think there's this bond between people and animals, particularly during war, when you're trying to. It's a touch of home, and that's exactly right. Yeah.
Kate, how do people get a hold of your book?
It's available on Barnes & Noble. It's available at Amazon, or people could go to smokethedonkey.com and order it there. And there are a couple of organizations that will get some of the proceeds if you go to the website.
Great. Well, thank you very much for bringing this to us.
Thank you. Appreciate talking to you.
It's Kate Folsom. It's Smoke the Donkey. And hey, we're on Speaking of Horses here at the Equus Film Festival. Stay with us.
Located in New Holland, Pennsylvania. If you want a great custom-built barn, you got to contact kingbarns.com. All kinds of customized barns, top-grade materials, and wonderful custom design to meet your request. Please check out King Barns today. Source Nutrition. One of the fine sponsors, Source Nutrition, micronutrients developed from the seaweed harvested off the coast of Maine, aids in digestion, helps with older horses, keeps everything moving fine in your horse's digestive tract. Check out Source.
Hey, we're still here, speaking of horses, at the Equus Film Festival, and we are in beautiful Lower East Side, Manhattan, New York, on a gorgeous November day, right?
Wonderful weather that we had here, Wayne. It was just a delight. Absolutely.
Let me see your book. Lauren Hutton is my guest.
Robin Hutton.
Robin Hutton. Why did I say Lauren?
Because of Lauren Hutton.
I guess. I knew it was Robin. I asked you your last name, and then I blew the first name. We'll be okay. Robin Hutton, now your book is Sergeant Reckless.
Sergeant Reckless, America's War Horse.
Let me hold this a little closer here. But Robin, Robin and I have talked before, but now you are getting some statues of Sergeant Reckless erected now in honor. So where was the last one that went up?
The last one that went up was at Camp Pendleton on October 26, and it was actually the anniversary of the day Reckless became a Marine in 1952. So it was just a great day.
The people that don't know about Reckless, give us a brief history of Reckless.
Well, she, to me, is it's the greatest horse story that you've never heard about, because to me, she served our country and saved American lives in the Korean War. The Marines purchased her to carry ammunition for the recoilless rifle. And in one battle, in one day alone, she made 51 trips up to the guns, most of the time by herself, carried 386 rounds of ammunition, each round weighing 24 pounds. So that's over 9,000 pounds of ammunition she carried. Walked over 35 miles up steep hills and through open rice paddies, and was wounded twice and never stopped. She even carried wounded off the battlefield. So it's really quite spectacular what this little pony did.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. And I remember I met you a few years ago, and maybe it was in Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia, absolutely.
And you were talking about it, and I thought it was funny. You mentioned in a panel the other day that you have a screenplay ready, and you were ready to present this movie, and that was about the same time that Spielberg came out with War Horse, and then I know.
Couldn't get a meeting.
It's like me vying for time against NBC. I lose. Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
That's just what happens. But
so you got to fade to the 4th accordion punt. So
Right.
on our book and monuments.
So tell me, you say you've got more monuments coming or planned?
I have 2 more planned right now. One is going to be in South Korea, where she is from, and they're very excited to bring her home. But the other one that I'm very, very excited about is going to be at the Kentucky Horse Park. And yes, and that one I am thrilled to death about, and they're excited to have her there as well.
Well, it's amazing. It's Sergeant Reckless, America's War Horse. It's a great book. How do people get it?
They can go on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or they can go to my website at sergeantreckless.com.
It's a great story, and I appreciate it. And, you know, there are very few of our equine, whether it's mule or horse partners from any of the wars or conflicts we've fought, that get recognized. And if you think about it, go back to like Civil War and World War I, they were the mainstay at that time.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's amazing. Robin, thank you.
God bless you, Wayne. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay with us. Speaking of
Timeless
horses.
systems, they're non-conductive, they're self-insulating, they're maintenance-free. Beyond that, they're very easy to install. They'll last for years and years. Timeless fence systems. Check them out. And we'd like to introduce you to L&D Trailers. They're announcing their dealership featuring Equitrek horse trailers of Britain, a full line of high-quality trailers, and soon they're going to be introducing total vans, horse trailers, and comfortable quarters. Equitrek.
Hey,
and
Wayne
L&D
Williams,
Trailers.
speaking of horses, we're here in New York City, Lower Manhattan, the Equus Film Festival 2016. Naomi Boynes is my guest. Now, she's got a history in horses. She's got a story to tell about horses. It's called Scout's Honor. So give us a little history, if you would, about you and horses in general.
Sure. When I was a child, I used to ride, and then I just got involved in a career, work, money, and I basically just was. I had nothing in my life. I didn't have any children, and I have a husband, but I just didn't have anything. And that job that I had, I was dying. I was dying, and my husband suggested I take a lesson and basically with a horse, and I said, if I'm going to take a lesson, then I'm going to go ahead and lease a horse. And then I said, I'm going to go and get a horse. Now, granted, I didn't even know what a hoof was, so I had no idea. But I was given this horse. I had no idea about that horse, and he had nothing. Didn't know anything about me except that I did not know how to ride. And I had basically was riding. One day I wanted to do English, and we were up in the mountains, and I had a very bad accident on him, and I basically got spooked, and down Griffith Park, the mountains, straight down a mountain, galloping. There was a tight turn, and I knew that I was going to fall off, and I had one of two choices, and that was to either slam into the mountain or go off a cliff. And I fell into the mountain head first, cracked my neck, and blood everywhere, and I didn't think I was going to live. The odd thing about it is that horses usually go and they continue on when they get spooked. He turned around for me, and I realized that I had a special horse, and and I said, if you teach me how to ride, because I was not injured, oddly enough. I was badly bruised. I cracked my neck, but I did not suffer other than emotionally. And 5 weeks later, I got back on the horse, and from then it evolved into finding each other, learning about each other, and then paying it forward towards LAPD and Operation Progress, where these children used Scout, which was a school horse, and because he had that talent, and he basically taught them how to ride. If they kept their grades up, they got the privilege. So the void was really that filling his void, and to find out that he was 5th in the nation when he was younger, and then they retired him, and I had no idea who this horse was. And I originally, from there, I basically moved my horse to the Los Angeles Equestrian Center, realizing I could not afford him. So I made him a special school horse for children that had bad accidents that could afford to ride, but that and I got a job as well there. I am a pharmaceutical rep during the day. I work 5 days a week, and to make it work, I work the weekends at the barn, so I've been working 7 days a week. December will be 1 year, and I made him have a job and me, and the moral of the story is really, it's not about me. It's about how a horse has helped so many, to include myself, and how different I am in 5 years, where I'm a different person, and I am truly never been happier in my life. And it's not about money. It's not about anything other than believing in yourself and never give up, no matter what obstacle. Believe in yourself, because you can make anything happen.
And you know, the horse is a very honest animal.
Yes.
They will actually, they will do it for you unconditionally.
That's correct.
If you're honest with them, they're very honest with you.
Yes.
And it's that honesty and that value of life, that value of a relationship that I think they put into the world that turns the tide about what you're talking about.
That's very true. I think that they actually can read our minds. And I know that he knew I was needing help. And not only did he help me, but then when he helped me, we as a team helped others. And that's why I am so privileged. When I was selected as official selection for the Equus Film Festival here in Lower East Manhattan, and I have never been so privileged, nor have I gone to a film festival, never. And I always say, you know, the first impression is lasting impression, and this has been the most amazing experience for somebody that has never been in the industry, never done anything like this. And it all started with just a little story and how it evolved. And I'm so grateful to be here and so proud.
And isn't it so nice that you decided to take that next step and create that documentary about you and Scout's Honor?
I thought, you know what, we're both older. He's 23 now, and I'm in my 50s, and I knew that.
You didn't ask that question.
Yeah, I know, but I'm proud. I'm proud to say that, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're 6 years old riding Scout or you're my age or anything in between. It's all about believing in yourself and just believing that whatever age you are, you can do it. And through equine therapy, it's the most amazing therapy I have ever experienced. And I am blessed beyond.
It is. Naomi, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to meet you here. And it's a pleasure for us at Speaking of Horses to be here at the Equus Film Festival in New York and meet people with films like Naomi. So thanks, and stay with us.
Thank you.
Here on Speaking of Horses. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm greatly appreciative. Thank you.